Welcome to the PhD Science Resource Overview session. This session will show you what components we pulled together to create this complete science solution for your school. Many of you may be familiar with Eureka Math or Engage New York Math. Well, the history behind that program is actually our company's history. Great Minds started as an advocacy group trying to reform education, to advocate for creating curricula that didn't just teach skills, but really help students build knowledge. We were awarded a grant to write the Engage New York program, and the success of the program and the reception it received from educators who understood that we were going beyond rote memorization and really helping students develop math fluency led us to expand the program with additional resources you find within Eureka Math, the most widely used math program in the country. But building knowledge isn't only about math fluency. It's something that needs to be woven into all the materials students touch throughout the school day. We firmly believe that every child is capable of greatness, and our goal is to help teachers help students achieve it. 75% of Great Minds employees are former teachers, and they bring passion for wanting to see students succeed in their work. We build knowledge through high-quality curricula across modules, levels, and subjects. Our focus is on creating high-quality curricula that help students build knowledge through every lesson.
And now we have PhD Science to help students build enduring knowledge in science. With PhD Science, we inspire students to wonder about the world and empower them to make sense of it. At the core of PhD Science are the following 4 pillars. We're a K-5 phenomena-based curriculum with everything woven together in a coherent storyline. Students explore rich, authentic, or real-world phenomena through observation, questioning, modeling, investigation, and evidence-based argumentation. Each module weaves a storyline through which students make sense of compelling phenomena as each lesson builds on previous lessons. The learning is student-driven. Teachers act as facilitators, allowing students to drive the learning as they wonder and ask questions about phenomena, analyze and synthesize information, and apply new knowledge to solve real-world problems. Hands-on investigations drive student exploration and learning forward. Students do science and engineering just as real scientists and engineers do, not through a screen and simulations, but by digging in with their hands and doing science. And all that isn't enough unless we have the appropriate supports in place for our teachers. We provide teacher-friendly support that help make the joyfully rigorous content accessible to all students as they are engaged in rich science content. And WestEd, recognizing our 4 pillars and more about our intentional design, PhD Science recently received high marks on the EQUIP rubric. We're the only curriculum provider to date to receive this recognition.
In a student-driven environment, teachers facilitate learning, but students own it. Students are driving the learning so they can find answers to questions about the world around them. It's a 3-dimensional approach to teaching and learning, and when implemented effectively, we'll have students that develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills that go well beyond passing a test for a single science lesson. What does this look like up close? In each module, students will ask questions as they investigate authentic phenomena and use that to understand core science concepts. And the phenomena they're investigating is truly authentic, not fabricated like other curriculum developers. We don't want to create fake events or fake locations for phenomena to occur. We don't want to plant students in front of pre-made simulations so that they can learn what they're studying. Like a real scientist would, we want them to dig in and experience it firsthand. They'll build real models to understand something like flooding, or just watch it on a screen. In every module, they'll gather evidence, develop models, and construct scientific explanations for why the world works the way it does. PhD Science wasn't retrofitted to acknowledge the next generation science standards, or NGSS, when it was released. It was written based on the framework and the NGSS, so 3-dimensional learning is at the heart of our curriculum. While we're still a fairly new and growing program, we've already been recognized for PhD Science with a Tier 1 rating from Louisiana Believes. If you aren't familiar with the rigorous rating process, you can see that they evaluated PhD Science using criteria that is common in science curriculum reviews. We were actually the first elementary curriculum to receive Tier 1 recognition in science, and we're the only organization to have 3 curricula rated Tier 1. Here's our K2 module map, where you can see the science topics students will be covering to build science knowledge over the entire year, as well as the anchor phenomenon for each of the 4 modules. We carefully select the topics to be relevant to students so they serve as a point of entry to helping them understand core science concepts. Our level 3 through 5 module map shows that focus on authentic, not fabricated phenomena. We look at real places that they have heard of or real events that they can learn more about. While it might be easier to use invented phenomena so we can control all the variables involved, we know that by connecting a lesson on weather to the 1900 Galveston hurricane, students have an opportunity to see real before and after images of the devastation that can be created by a real weather event. And it gives them a more solid connection to how a natural disaster can have a lasting impact on people in a region. Remember, our curriculum has a coherent storyline across lessons, lesson sets, and modules. But the coherence doesn't stop there. We also make connections across grade levels. One example is the forces and motions module students cover in the last module of level 3. Many of the science concepts that are first introduced in this module come up again as they explore energy as the second module in level 4, and even matter in the first module of level 5. PhD science is designed with accessible rigor in mind, maintaining the learning design of PhD science, but making sure it approaches learning in a way that is accessible to students who are developing their reading and writing skills. So levels 3 through 5 lessons are 45 minutes long with a launch, learn, land structure that you may be familiar with if you're using one of our other curricula. For K2, our lessons are slightly shorter and are 35 minutes each. You'll find about 25 to 30 lessons in a module and 4 modules per grade level. That means that there are about 100 lessons per year. While the lessons are timed to be 35 to 45 minutes, since we have 100 days of science planned, you can shorten lessons and cover the module over additional days. So the program is flexible based on your school's needs. The program includes several different components. The teacher edition is rich with resources and supports to help teachers facilitate every lesson, including just-in-time notes that appear in context to support teachers as they progress through the launch, learn, land components of every lesson. Say goodbye to textbooks. The science logbook is a consumable item, and students have one to accompany each of the 4 modules in a grade level. Students use it to make observations, generate ideas, ask questions, synthesize information, plan investigations, and apply their knowledge. This is how students learn to think and act like real scientists. PhD Projected is a digital resource that provides teachers with slides to cover each module. It also includes images referenced in the modules, videos, and other resources that the teacher has available in the teacher edition. But in this format, teachers can easily project the content for the entire class to view. Content area connections are made throughout every lesson, and the supporting authentic texts that have been selected for every module serve the purpose of allowing students to practice their literacy skills while also deepening their understanding of the anchor phenomenon. In some modules, the texts are read together as a class, and in others, they are read within student lab groups. Hands-on investigations are an integral component of PhD science. Materials kits can be purchased directly from Grapeminds, and each kit includes consumable and non-consumable items to conduct those hands-on investigations. The student science facts are student resources, both consumable and non-consumable, and are often used as part of a hands-on investigation. These are color-printed resources from Appendix A of the Teacher Edition with appropriate quantities for classroom use. And the assessment packs include the printed end of module assessments at levels K-5 and conceptual checkpoints at levels K-2. So you won't have to worry about finding a copy machine to make color copies for the entire class. On the topic of assessments, we want to make sure students are building knowledge of concepts and not just memorizing science facts. Assessment opportunities happen throughout the module. Checks for understanding include evaluation guidance of what evidence to look for and next steps for remediation. These occur at least once per lesson, so teachers can modify instruction if needed. Additionally, each module has 2 to 4 conceptual checkpoints, also with evaluation guidance, that occur at the end of each concept to assess the student's mastery of the skills identified in each concept standards. There is a science challenge or an engineering challenge in each module that allows students the opportunity to apply their knowledge to solve a problem which includes an evaluation rubric. And the end of module assessment also includes a rubric, and it gives students an opportunity to apply the knowledge they've developed over the course of the module in a new context as they explain how it applies to related phenomena. The award-winning books integrated into our lessons are books that you will recognize. They are trade books with rich illustration and content, and we've identified them because they are engaging while reinforcing the students' understanding of the phenomenon they're investigating. While some other programs include books with their curriculum, you'll find PhD Science is the only one to use trade books that are widely known and recognized, and they aren't supplemental. The books are included in the actual science lessons. We also use artwork to provide students with a new lens into the phenomenon. As we notice and wonder, we allow all students to be part of a lesson as they observe and ask questions. With this intentional incorporation of art throughout PhD Science, we were pleased to receive the Best of STEM Award in 2021 for the STEAM Excellence category. We know that science is often a lower priority in a K-2 classroom. That means that when there's a lesson, it's usually something taught in isolation from previous lessons. And we want to be sure even the youngest students have access to a coherent and complete curriculum to build science knowledge. Built from the ground up around three-dimensional teaching and learning, levels K2 of PhD Science are available as free open educational resource, OER, PDFs with a free account on greatminds.org. Print materials are available for purchase, including the science logbooks and teacher edition, plus the hands-on material kits, as well as the core text. Something new and exciting that was developed for K2 is our knowledge deck. The knowledge deck was created to make knowledge even more accessible for K2 students. These are carefully crafted with informational text combined with visually arresting images on consumable cards for the students and non-consumable posters for the classroom. Often these cards supplement knowledge offered in different trade books, investigations, and even help students apply knowledge to new phenomena. Students interact with the cards during lessons, collecting a deck of knowledge about different phenomena. We want all students to build enduring science knowledge, so we designed a distance learning program that complements PhD Science. Now that we're back in the school building, PhD Science Instinct still holds a place in many classrooms. It isn't just a digital version of the curriculum. It's adapted for students to still experience the hands-on, even if they're not the ones truly doing it. With InSync, all the same science content is covered. Some are now using InSync for a flipped classroom, which led to us winning the Tech Advocate for Best Blended Flipped Learning App in 2021. Others are using it for absent students or for remediation for those students who didn't quite get it the first time. When students are in class, though, we want them to drive the learning with hands-on investigations, modeling, and other activities to answer the module's essential question. When that's not possible, PhD Science Insync keeps them building critical science knowledge. And still, others are using it for their own professional development, helping prepare them for their next lesson, especially those that are more hands-on in nature. Let's dive into the digital components that make up PhD Science Insync. The Learn Anywhere plan is a pacing guide for daily lessons. The user guide helps teachers transition from the classroom curriculum to the continuous learning program. We have a video walkthrough available explaining every resource included with PhD Science Insync, so teachers understand how the resources come together to complement PhD Science and support continuous learning when students aren't in class. Our Science Journal support provides sample responses to the Science Journal tasks to help teachers gauge student understanding. PhD Projected is also included, which we mentioned earlier, as these slides can be utilized online. The digital teacher edition is important because it gives teachers the full picture of the module. They can explore lessons and resources to understand the context of each lesson, lesson set, and the full module map. For the students, lessons and investigations from PhD Science have been adapted for a virtual environment in video, including read-alouds of the core text. The videos are available in both English and Spanish. The Science Journal includes fillable PDFs with interactive annotation tools focused on the essential learning of each lesson, including activities and questions for students to complete during or after watching each video. They're available in English and Spanish as well, and they are printable so a teacher can support students without internet access. Welcome videos sit atop every module, introducing the module topic and the Great Minds teacher.
Behind the core materials for the program, there are several other free teacher resources we have in place to help educators successfully shift to the role of facilitating student-driven learning in science. The resources on the left are found in our teacher resource pack, which we'll dive into shortly. Shifting to the right, we have active social media accounts for both Great Minds and PhD Science among our other curricula. Once you're implementing, there are Facebook groups by grade level for PhD Science, connecting educators with one another and with our implementation success team members who are dedicated to the program's success. Webinars and blogs are yet another way we support educators making the shift in science instruction. Additionally, our implementation success team developed free supportive videos that cover the basics of PhD science, as well as the professional learning opportunities we offer. Let's go ahead now and take a look at these components and others within a curriculum review account.
Within your curriculum review account, you'll find curriculum review resources, with many of those also found in the teacher resource pack. In addition, though, the curriculum review resources includes the PhD Science brochure, levels 3 through 5 reviewer guide, module map, and the art of PhD Science. Within the grade level resources, you'll also find many similarities, but you'll only find PhD projected in curriculum review resources. These are accessible through purchase of PhD Science in Sync or licensed with purchase of PhD Science. PhD projected includes images and notes to the teacher to go along with the slides, as well as easy links to the videos included within PhD Science. A couple resources that are only found within the teacher resource pack include the Spanish family tip sheets and implementation support. Clicking into the digital teacher edition, organized by module and level, you'll see that it opens up with the fine art covers. The module overview introduces you to the concepts that students will be exploring as they strive to answer the essential question. Within the module overview, the module map further breaks down the concepts and lesson sets, showing you what performance expectations will be addressed. Deeper into the module overview, you'll find the focus standards and key terms, safety considerations, building knowledge and skills across levels, and additional reading suggestions. Once you get into the concepts and lesson sets, you'll find that they open with a prepare section that includes a knowledge statement, objectives and standards addressed, plus materials to support classroom management and assist with preparation. Getting into a lesson, you'll see a consistent launch, learn, land structure with agenda pacing provided. Alternative pacing guides are available in the teacher resource pack. Notice the teacher supports provided at point of use, from English language development to content area connections, and spotlights on SCPs to teacher notes, differentiation, and more. Wrapping up a module, you'll find an end of module assessment that involves students encountering alternative phenomena to show what they know in a new context. Sample responses and a rubric are included. Appendices are very often skipped in a review, but don't miss out on the ones found in PhD Science. Appendix A includes projectable or printable resources. While Appendix B has the module storyline. This quickly becomes a favorite of implementers because it goes a step beyond the module map and shows what students are doing and maybe thinking throughout the module, an absolute must when planning. And Appendix C and D are also of help with scientific terms being so complex to learners. Appendix D is another must visit, especially if you have Spanish-speaking students. Going back to our resources, the science logbook, explored briefly earlier, is also a component to explore further. Let's dive into the implementation guide, accessible via the teacher resource pack, which is available with a free account on greatminds.org, or it's found in your curriculum review resources. The content learning cycle takes you through the word K approach and ties it to the student actions or the SEPs and to the teacher actions or the 7E's. Assessment is another area to explore within the implementation guide. As anchor visuals and questions are really at the heart of a student-driven classroom. So be sure to take a look at how these are incorporated in PhD science as well. There are so many great resources and supports found within the teacher resource pack and especially within the implementation guide, much of which is helpful whether you're implementing PhD science or not. These resources include supporting scientific discourse and instructional routines. The best way to ensure success with the pedagogical shift that PhD science requires is to provide teachers with implementation support from teachers that have used PhD science in their own classrooms or have written elements from our curriculum and have deep pedagogical understanding of best science educational practices and our program. Our implementation success team works with teachers and administrators to prepare and plan for implementation so they can successfully nurture a knowledge-building, student-driven learning environment. Our team provides a wide range of professional development and coaching sessions to help teachers build knowledge, comfort, and confidence of the pedagogical shift that PhD science requires. These sessions are created to support those that are new to the program, as well as to support teachers beyond the first year to continue supporting them as they develop their instructional techniques. The best people to describe what you can expect from PhD science are the teachers who are using it. Here's what one teacher shared about her PhD science experience.